Welcome to PPR Podcast number 121. My name is Paul. The undisputed star of the podcast is brought to you by the San Diego Strike Force, who also sponsors said podcast, Mr. Burt Grossman. Burt,
yes,
we have a national guest this week.
Coach Joe Kennedy. I think everybody knows who he is. If you don't, he's the coach that decided to kneel, express his religious freedoms, and was fired, and then went all the way to the Supreme Court to win his right to coach back again. How are you, Coach?
I am wonderful. Thank you for asking, buddy.
Well, Coach, we spoke. It was not in concert with of the news that you have created. You got back. You were the head coach and then came back as the assistant coach. Correct? Do I have that right?
Well, partially. I was a head coach for JV and assistant coach for varsity.
All right. So you came back as an assistant coach, lasted one game, and pulled the plug. You had talked to us about how you didn't feel welcome coming back to school. Did that factor into your decision?
Well, of course it did. You know, I wasn't what did you expect? I expected, them to be a little hostile. I totally understand that. The football program, I love those guys. I love those kids. I love the coaches. But, we were in a bad situation where everybody was forced to work with each other instead of, him hiring, his own staff. So, yeah, I was expecting a little bit of resistance when I got there.
Yeah, it's not, this whole thing took like 7 years, correct?
8 years, 9 football seasons.
So all the kids that you knew and all the families you have relationships and all the coaches, they've already gone out and it's a new group and then you have to come in cold?
Yeah, these kids have been working with these guys for the past 8 years, and the ones that I have now, when I was up there, they were in grade school, so they have absolutely no idea. I did have 2 guys on my team that had older brothers, so that was kind of cool to see, them still going on in the same community.
So basically, you were wedged back onto a staff that maybe didn't want you, and that just proved to be insurmountable as far as a working relationship?
Yeah, I thought it was best to go out on top, and I think it's best for everybody. It's been a long marathon of a fight, and I'm done fighting. I don't want to fight anymore, and I just want the Knights to do well. I want that program to do well. I don't want to be a distraction for them. So it was so much easier for me just to retire finally on my own terms instead of somebody else's.
You talk about the long fight. You won, so there's never anything bad about having more freedoms. Did you ever have the thought of what would be the outcome if you lost, and what would be your legacy then, and how maybe we lose the freedoms?
Yeah, that was my biggest fear. The whole entire time, I wasn't even concerned about winning. It was when we went to the court, and the court said any display of religion in the public square or at a football game or at a public school, could be termination. And that just did not sit right with me. And that would have been horrible. I would have fought until the death, because that's what, Marines do. We fight for the Constitution and to protect everybody's rights. And if they were going to take those away on my watch, man, I couldn't live with that.
What do you say to the people who say, hey, hold it? Colin Kaepernick is doing the exact same thing. Why should we applaud Joe Kennedy, but excoriate
wow.
Colin Kaepernick? Are your excuse me? That's Wisconsin vocabulary, Coach. In your view, are your cases similar?
I think they're identical, and like it or not, because there's a lot of people that don't like what I did, and that's their right to do that as an American. But the same freedom that protects Kaepernick, which I think he got the kneeling for me, by the way, because he came after me. But I think he got that for me, and the same rights that protect him to be able to take a knee and protest is the same ones that protect my freedom of speech and my freedom of religion to take a knee in thanks after a football game. We might not agree with it, we might not like it, but that's the great thing about America, is that we do have equal rights. Nobody's more special than anybody else.
So to be clear, you supported Colin Kaepernick.
I did. I didn't like what he did.
Well, no, you're a military guy.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we do, and I know it's a double-edged sword, but that's one of the things. I despised everything about it, but I will support his right as an American, which, it is a double-edged sword. And yeah, I prefer that he, stood proud of our flag in America, because that's what I expect every American to do. It's sad that somebody doesn't do that, but it is their right. As much as I dislike it, I will protect that right.
So because help me out here, because, there's one side, there's separation of religion and state. Then there's the other side where you don't lose your rights when you walk into a school. How do they differentiate between those two things? Like, how do they come to a medium? Is it just...
Oh, yeah, that's a perfect question. And that's what I love about the Supreme Court's ruling and the way that the Supreme Court justice wrote it up, is that the First Amendment is where it's made to complement each other. The freedom of speech and freedom of religion. It's not freedom from religion. And the separation of church and state, that's been an ongoing thing from a letter that a president wrote back way before any of us were even thought of. And it's not in our Constitution. It's there to protect people's rights, not to infringe upon them. And that's what the great thing about it is that you don't give up your rights as an American just because you work in the public square. God belongs in the public square as much as any other American, any other faith, any of those things. They all work together.
Coach, excuse me for not knowing the answer to this. You're not supposed to ask questions you don't know the answer to. But when you appear in front of the Supreme Court, are you in the room?
No, I was supposed to be, but because of COVID restrictions, they only allowed 2 lawyers from each side and the press. So go figure that one. I still can't wrap my brain around it.
So the media could be, but the defendant couldn't.
He's the plaintiff.
Excuse me, the plaintiff couldn't. So how did you? Did you watch? Were you able? There is no closed circuit. Were you able to listen?
We were able to listen. They had a live stream for everything that was being said. We were right across the street with an office that one of the local attorneys had. And we sat there as a group, me, my wife, my local attorneys from Washington State, Jeff Heldson and AJ Ferrati, and all of First Liberty. We sat in the same room around a giant table, and we were I couldn't understand anything they were saying. It was all legal mumbo jumbo. So I was having them explain it as we went. And then as soon as it was over, boom, we just went across the street and stood on the front steps and did our press thing.
Could you tell how it was going? Did you feel like it was a favorable?
Well, I thought it was favorable from the very beginning. The very first time when we were at the district court, the judge said, I prayed with my football team. My dad was the coach. He prayed with his team. I'm thinking, dude, this is a slam dunk touchdown. We're going to spike the ball right here. But no, he says, however, due to today's climate, and I'm going, today's climate? You're a freaking judge. You're not a weatherman. So that's why it went all the way to Supreme Court. People would not rule on the law and the facts of the case. So when the school started making up this whole new narrative, they had to pray to play and all this other nonsense, our guys just wiped the floor with them at the Supreme Court. We presented a spectacular case in for the First Amendment. They were trying to go against the First Amendment. So I think we just kicked their butt in that.
So I went to a Catholic school, so this, to me, we had to pray before. We had to go to Mass before, then pray before the game, halftime, and after. So it's foreign to me. How does it? Does somebody complain? And
no.
Like, how did this start?
Oh. Yeah, it all started from a compliment. Somebody came to one of our football games from another district, and they saw what we did after our football game. We had both teams come together for a moment of peace and prayer. Imagine 2 football teams that are trying to kick the heck out of each other and coming together after the game and everybody taking a knee with their arms around each other and being thankful for being able to play that game. That's what they saw. And so somebody called the principal at Bremerton High School and said, hey, I just want to tell you what your football program is doing is awesome. So all of this stemmed from a compliment. And of course, you have to do an investigation when you have a compliment, of course, and it just led us here.
Well, I coached enough and you coached. When they come up, it's a non-denominational thing anyway. It's saying a prayer to whoever your God is. I mean, it's not a Catholic prayer or Christian. It's a non-denominational. You put your head down, you pray who you want to.
But and don't NFL teams meet at midfield after a game, and don't they do the exact same thing?
Oh, they sure do. Yeah, they pray before their games in the locker room. None of this is new to football. I wasn't the one who originated it. This went back from the beginning of football when they first started playing back in the day with leather helmets. They've always been thankful and have always, prayed, and that's just part of America. I don't care what religion you are. Be thankful for just being here and being able to compete against somebody and being able to, I was thankful for being able to be part of it. So, yeah, it was a simple prayer for me.
Can I, Coach, excuse the crassness of my questions. Are you swamped in legal bills right now, or did you have legal aid that came to your rescue?
Yeah, we had First Liberty Institute, and I had 2 local attorneys from Washington State that represented me. And the 2 local attorneys, AJ Ferrati, he played for Bremerton High School, so he's a Knight, he's a football player. And Jeff Heldson, he was a local guy who just wanted to stand up for the First Amendment and for religious freedom. And First Liberty, they're the ones that's what they get paid to do. They take all their donations, they make all their money off of fundraising, and that's how they do it. But I didn't receive a single bill, and thank God. Could you imagine? I think the bill was about $6.9 million when everything was said and done.
And what was the settlement?
$1.75 million.
So that just goes right back to the lawyers?
Yeah, it goes right back to the lawyers. I don't see a nickel of it.
Goodness.
And it went to good thing it went to the local attorneys and not to First Liberty, because they work off of whatever that and 501c3.
And not that it is. I mean, I don't want to. At some point, does it feel like this is all for naught or a waste of time? Because it's really 1 or 2% on this side, 1 or 2% on this side, and then the other 98% doesn't care what. If you pray to your God, my God, the other God, do you? So, it's all we go through this with everything over this loud 1% on this side and this loud 1% on this side. Do you feel that way at some point? It's like, why do I have to do all this?
No, I absolutely 100% feel that way. Most Americans are moderates. We're conservative about some things. We're liberal about other things. It's those far left and right wing fanatics that have the biggest voices, the biggest loudmouths. They're the ones out there screaming and chanting and, creating a ruckus. And the most of us are like, why? This shouldn't even be a thing. This was a guy, a high school football coach, taking a knee and being thankful for being part of it and thanking his team. How is that Supreme Court and how is that newsworthy? That's just America. I don't get it.
Well, if I were you, I'd be writing a book. Oh, hold it. You do have a book. Average Joe, which is available now, right?
Yes, Average Joe, the Coach Kennedy story. And the reason I wrote that, everybody's like, oh, you just wanted to make $1. I don't care if it makes a nickel. I want people to judge me. They always judge people off of whatever the Facebook thing says or Instagram or a headline of a news story. They never take the time to actually learn the history. And that's what I wanted to do, is tell my story in the way that in my voice, so people can understand who I am, where I came from, and my love for the country, for God, and my family. And if anybody wants to fault me after that, so be it. But at least read the book and understand who the heck I am before you condemn me. Afterwards, then I'm fine with it.
What's one thing I'll read in that book that people will be shocked to find out?
Ooh,
you're a Tennessee fan?
Well,
besides you're a Tennessee fan, I'm shocked to find that out.
Don't pick up my balls. I know we dropped out of the top 10. I know, but it's only week 2. Come on. It's only week 2.
I always take cheap shots if you don't watch this. I always do it.
We're 2-0. What are you going to say about that?
That's true.
We're good. Shocking things. Really, I think I was on unwanted pregnancy. I was the worst kid probably in America. I should have been locked up, and somebody should have probably beat the crap out of me when I was a kid. I was in and out of group homes, foster homes. And my wife, the whole entire time, praise God for her. Can you imagine? She was the HR director for the school district during all of this.
Oh.
Imagine that. So this was not something that was simple. And we had 2 kids, one in the high school, or no, we had 2 in the high school, 1 in the middle school. So my kids were attending the school as this was going on too. This was a big family thing. And people don't understand that. They think, oh, just, coach is trying to get attention and trying to, get out there and be one of those people who just convert over to Jesus or something. And I'm like, dude, that's another thing. I don't even know the Bible. Love God, love others. And I suck at those. That's it. That's all I really know.
I went to Catholic school for forever. I don't know it either, so don't worry about that. I
got kicked out of Catholic school, so dude, I'm with you.
I got kicked out of public and had to go to Catholic. All right, so I'm gonna go out on a limb here and ask you a question.
Yeah.
The book came out. I'm sure there's gonna be a movie coming or something in production. You sound like you're not a Joe Biden guy. Do you get pulled between the Trump and DeSantis things now? Because there's always somebody like you that they want to grab. And how do you?
So we had a hero's dinner with DeSantis, and what he's done in Florida, because I'm in Florida with my father-in-law and my family here, and we are huge DeSantis fans. The guy has done phenomenal things for the state of Florida. We love him. We don't want to lose him as the governor. And I've been a Trump fan since day one. I know he's a little busy, but I've been waiting for him to call and say, hey, are you going to endorse me? And can you speak on my behalf? I love competition. That's the best thing. That's why we have Super Bowl. That's why we have national championships, because you want the best to compete, not the worst. So, if it came down to DeSantis and Trump, well, of course I'm going to be rooting for Trump, but I want both of them to compete and have the best one win, because that's what we do as Americans. We fight for the number 1 spot.
You should be a politician. You dodged that pretty good. That's a good job.
Well, if he was really if he was really a politician, he would say, "Hey," because you want to sell your book to both people on both sides of the aisle. So.
Yeah. And you're a Kennedy. For God's sake, you're a Kennedy.
Yeah, you're going to play.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Go figure that one.
So how does that get, so you're in Florida. Are you going to, Florida football is as big as it gets. Texas, California, Florida, Pennsylvania. And you come from a small high school. Washington's not known for their high school football. Do you get the itch to coach in Florida now again, or are you done coaching now?
Right now, I just have not a good taste in my mouth after all of this, and I'm tired. You know how much it takes to coach.
Right.
And Washington, the Pac-12 doesn't even really exist anymore. We're going to be Pac-4. Yeah, football is not a thing in Washington. Oh man, rub that in. Yeah, the left coast is not right in the head when it comes to football. So I've had a lot of offers. I've had colleges, I've had high schools all around the area wanting me to come coach, and I'm not ready to do that. I don't know where God's going to lead me. I don't know what's next. I wanted to get to that first game. That's what I've been fighting for this whole time. I asked for 2 things: to be able to be a coach and to pray after a football game, and I accomplished both those. I had nothing planned beyond that. I know that's probably not good planning on my part, but that's where I'm at. So me and my family are trying to figure out what's next for us.
Was it hard to walk away from that $3,000 stipend a year coaching? A lot of lifestyle changes. We had to tighten the belt. That's what the other people don't get. It's like you spend 30 hours a week, buy kids, everything rides, and you get $3,000 a year before taxes.
At least, and you pay more than that with buying the kids cleats and food and everything else that you do for these guys. Yeah, and I wanted that. I was going to take that money anyway. Even if I stayed the whole year, I was going to give that to one of the other coaches, because we have volunteer coaches that have been there for years that have been wanting to get on the payroll, but they just haven't. So they stayed as volunteers. Man, give them the money. I hope that's my challenge to Bremerton. Make sure that money gets to one of the coaches that is working there right now.
So when you made all right, so did you know going into that your first game back that this was going to be your last game? When did you make the decision that, all right, I'm done with this?
It was probably Tuesday morning. My wife and I, Friday night was the first time we went to bed actually giggling and in a good mood, because it was the first time that we actually accomplished everything we wanted to do. So we sat there and we talked about it till about 2:00 in the morning. Monday, I said, let me go to practice, see how things turn out. I went to practice on Monday and Tuesday. And by Tuesday, I was like, hun, I think this is it. And, not to cop out or anything, but my wife's dad, he just got his CT back and it doesn't look good. He's got a bunch of medical problems. So everything just kind of seemed to point in the right direction, that what we want to do is, let's go out on a high note and keep our head up high and just walk away. So it was, I think, Tuesday and by Wednesday when we were flying back together, because I only had a one-way ticket to Bremerton or to Seattle. So I had to, purchase a ticket, get on the flight and everything. And I was still questioning that. And my wife put me at ease and said, you made your decision. You turned in your letter. I turned it in about 4:00 in the morning on Wednesday. And she said, you made a decision, go with it. You can't call a playback after it's been played.
Did you have a heart-to-heart with the coaching staff, or did you say anything to them?
I went around to each one of the coaching staff and I looked them in the eye and I shook their hand and I told them that they were great men. And I gave my letter of resignation to the head coach because I think he was just in a really horrible situation. I can't imagine what he's going through, and he's probably cussing my name. But, man, he is a great man, and he's got a wonderful program up there. I wish him the best.
So do you think he was secretly relieved when you walked away?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Because, I was a distraction and a headache. He wants to.
Oh, did we lose? Are you still hearing him, Coach?
I can't hear.
Hey, hang on a second. Are you still there, Coach? Hello?
Did I lose you guys?
Yeah, all right. You're back now. So let me ask that question again. Was he relieved when you made the decision to step down?
Oh, I'm sure he was. And like as I was trying to say, is that only thing him and I ever wanted to do was coach football and help these young men. That was it. So anything, all this nonsense about, a simple prayer and everything else, we just want to be focused on those kids. We want them to be able to become better young men and to compete at the highest level possible. So I know he probably took a deep breath and was like, at least that chapter's over. Let's keep moving on. We're starting our season. So I think he's hopefully smiling in his heart. I really want him to be.
So I can tell your face strong because I was just thinking, I can't imagine an 8-year battle in my marriage where I'm suing my wife's employer and she's the human resources director. Was that? How was that for that? I mean, in the beginning it had to be rough.
You can't even imagine. We to be frank, we almost got a divorce over it. She couldn't understand. She thought I was just being this defiant punk kid that she's always known since we were little kids. I met her when we were 9, so we grew up together. She knew what a terror I was. And she took it really personal. And we almost got a divorce over it. God swooped in at the last second as I was walking out the door. I mean, it's just amazing that we made it through it. So yeah, that's my thing for you guys. Don't sue your wife and don't have her fire you. And you guys will probably be pretty good.
So one last question then on that. So you go through this fight. I mean, her job, she's human resources director. You go all the way to the Supreme Court. What was her reaction when you quit after like a week, after all that?
She took a big sigh of relief. She wanted this to be over from day one. She didn't want any of this. She is a woman of all heart. She's a nurturer. She's a mama bear, of course, with our kids and trying to defend me. But she's equally defending the school and her job, all those things. So yeah, she didn't want any of this. This was huge and a very, very personal thing on a daily basis up at the school district for her.
Lessons that you learned in the Marine Corps that carried over to your coaching career. Are there any?
That's one of the best questions. When I got hired on as a football coach back in 2008, I was sitting in the interview and they asked me about my defensive skills and knowledge. I was like, I don't have any. And they were like, offense? And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I don't know that. And they were like, special teams? I'm like, no, I don't. And they were like, why the hell are you even here? And I said, well, because ask the athletic director sitting in the room why I'm here. And he says, tell him what you could bring to the program. And I was like, oh, well, team building, discipline, leadership. And I just went through all the intangible things, and they offered me the job on the spot. I was not an X and O guy. I still don't know X's and O's. My job was to most out of the players and help the coaches be the best that they could be so they could focus on the X's and O's. We had Tony Bodie, who played in the Super Bowl for the Denver Broncos, on our coaching staff. We had the knowledge there. It freed up all those guys. They didn't have to worry about Johnny and his grades and his mom and his girlfriend and all that other nonsense that, the drama that happens with high school football kids. That was 100% my job.
Fascinating. Coach, I hope I run into you. I want to buy you a beer.
I'm down.
If you ever make it to San Diego, please look us up. Your career is fascinating. How's the book doing?
Well, it's out on pre-sale, and I haven't even asked once if it covered the cost of it. I stay away from all that nonsense. It's things that just give me a headache that I'm not even going to worry about. If it makes $1, cool. If it doesn't, cool. I really don't care. I just want to be judged off of the truth instead of what the headlines say.
You were saying they'll make a movie of this. Will contemporary Hollywood find this subject interesting? This doesn't jive with contemporary Hollywood. 40 years ago.
Interesting. Yeah, so get this. So they've already written a screenplay. They've hired a director. They're in pre-production right now. There's a big strike, I guess, going in Hollywood,
right.
And so they nobody would touch this. They can fill my wife's position and all these other positions for the movie cast, but they can't find somebody who will actually play me.
I'll do it.
It's so controversial.
I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm there, right there.
So
yeah, text me afterwards. I'll give you the.
Well, wait, you were in Desert Storm though, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I can't film that part, but I'll do everything else.
But like Kevin Costner would be a good. Well, he's too old probably now.
I got the part. What are you doing?
No, Matthew McConaughey would be your part. Dude, you can't act.
I can act.
Any idiot can play me. Anybody.
Well, then Burt's your man.
I've been acting like I like you for like 10 years. I can act.
Well, Joe, we kept you longer than we said we were. So,
that's great.
What we'll do is my assistant, Maddie, is going to probably contact you regarding social media tags, the stuff that you want us to tag you on. And other than that, we'll put this up later today, and maybe we'll meet again down the road after the book.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you owe me a beer now, so yeah.
And thank you for sharing your story.
I'm in.
I too went to a Catholic high school, and I never understood what the big deal was. We said Queen of Victory, pray for us, and we did
Our Lady of Victory.
No, Queen of Victory.
It's Our Lady of Victory.
Well, we did it right.
Because you're older. She was a queen when you were there.
Long story short is, I didn't think much of it, and I think that was 1970 as opposed to 2023, and people like to get their undies in a bunch. It's
over the dumbest things.
Yeah,
we're bored. We're a bored society.
All right, so Coach Kennedy, what is going to be just as we wrap this up? What's the next act for you? I mean, what do you want to do next?
I don't know. I've been contacted by a bunch of people. I have no idea. We talked about going into ministry. We do public speaking. We have no idea. I mean, no clue whatsoever. Hopefully I'll figure that out really soon because my wife is wondering where our next paycheck's going to come from. So, I've got to figure this out pretty quick.
All right, Coach Kennedy, whatever it is, I'm sure you will have the Midas touch. So, sir, you can turn off the machines. Podcast number 121 has concluded. Goodbye, Coach Kennedy. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Coach.
God bless.